Well, hey there. Welcome back to Adventure in Art. My name is Ben Staley. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about this, my Leica Q2, that I have now had approximately 1 year and maybe a few extra days, weeks. I can't remember when I actually got it. It was late August or early September of 2019. I was on a waiting list for like 4 months at a couple different camera shops before I finally got one. And, you know, I told the story in my Q2 portraits video, so I'll link that below and you should check it out if you want to get the backstory. So it's been a year now, and it's the only camera, the only digital camera that I've had. Okay, real quick, let's just talk about the specs of the Q2. It's 47.2 megapixels. It's got a 28mm Summilux f1.7 lens that also has a macro feature. And just so you know, 28mm is just about what your iPhone has for a lens. So it's darn near the same focal length as your iPhone, give or take just a little. I mean, I think it's right in there. Those are the main specs that you're going to care about. It's awesome. It shoots RAW and JPEG. It has a 4K video, 24 and 30 frames. It's got HD video at 24, 30, 60, and 120 frames a second. Yeah, that's the Q2. So this isn't going to be a deep dive review like a lot of guys and gals do on YouTube. There's plenty of those out there. I kind of recommend, you know, I like the DP reviews. Those are freaking great. But there's a ton of Q2 reviews out there that came out, you know, a month or two or right around the time the camera came out. So I'm going to do my style of review, which I'm going to call the meat and potatoes review. And this is just kind of my general thoughts after using it the way I use it, which may not be the way you want to use it, but I definitely have strong opinions about the camera. Let's just get into it before I get super long-winded here, okay? I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that I like and the top 5 things that I don't like. Pros and cons in no particular order. We're going to bounce around. The first thing that I like, and this might be, I don't know. I don't know which one of these things is my favorite, but this is one of the things I like the most about it. And the Q2 is weather sealed, weatherproof. So I love that because I don't want to be precious with my cameras. I travel all the time. I work in super rough environments. I work in some of the worst weather on the planet. That's my job. I'm mostly a filmmaker. I go around. I'm routinely in Alaska or South America or Mexico or Siberia or all kinds of places, you name it, typically rough environments. I'm about to head out to, by the time you watch this, I'm going to be in a super gnarly environment. What I like about the Q2 is it's weather sealed. So I don't have to frickin' worry about it. And I've drugged this thing through the mud, through jungles in Mexico. I've had it out in the pouring rain. I've had it in freezing temperatures in Alaska, and I don't worry about it. I drag it out, I take pictures. It's always worked flawlessly. I've never gotten water inside of it. I have a lot of confidence in this camera's ability to withstand the elements, and it has. And I freaking love that. It's a game changer for me. I'm not stressed about it. It's one sealed block. There's no real holes in it, you know. The battery doesn't even have a battery cover on it, you know. It's just got this thing that slides in the bottom. There's kind of a seal around it, and boom, you're good to go. There's a pretty tight door for the memory card, and man, this thing has really held up in some wet environments and some dirty environments. And I just freaking love that. I love that I can drag it out and not worry about it. One thing that this camera doesn't have is a tilt screen. Okay, is that a con? I mean, kinda. I like to put the camera on the ground or shoot in these weird angles where you can't really see it. And unless it's up here right in front of your face, you can't really see what you're doing. Now, on the other hand, it's 28mm, pretty wide, so you can set it for autofocus, I guess, and kind of guess. And I've done that before, and I've done it on the ground, and I've done it up here. Sometimes It'd be kind of cool if you had a tilty screen or a, but honestly, that's another moving part. That's a layer of complexity. That's something that could break. It's a con, it doesn't have it. You don't have those benefits. I'm okay with that. And frankly, you know, given the disadvantages that would come with that, or maybe the fact that maybe it could break, it would make the camera slightly more fragile, I'm fine. I'm putting it down in the con list, but I'm fine that it doesn't have a tilty screen, honestly. Maybe that's a cop-out for a con. Macro. So the Q2 has the macro function on the lens, 28mm, goes from regular, you can bloop, bloop. It's so cool too, the way the lens flips over to macro and you get a different focus scale. I've never really owned a macro lens before, and it's a game changer for me. So I use the macro all the time, and it's like just so cool to photograph bugs or weird things, close-up things, whatever. That's all I'm gonna say. The lens on this camera is freaking spectacular, and it's like two lenses in one with that macro capability. It has changed the way I look at things. It's changed, given me new ways to photograph things. The thing that I like about photography is the discovery, you know, you're just like, what is this gonna look like? You're trying to make a photograph, but you're really curious. How is this gonna come out? And the macro does that for me. It's just like, ooh, what does this look like in macro? I find myself photographing all kinds of little things and details, and frickin' macro is awesome. I'm getting long-winded here. I'm trying to keep this short. This should be under pros, but I'm putting it under cons. The Wi-Fi. So yes, you can connect this camera to your phone and you can beam images over or control the camera with your phone. It's awesome when it works. It's really spotty, and I don't know if this is just me. Chime in, man, if you've got a Q2. Have you had the issues I have? Have you had the same issues as me? Sometimes I have a super hard time connecting. I'll have to just, you know, delete the profile in my app, delete the profile in the camera, start all over. I've done this several times. Sometimes it connects really easy. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes. That's too long for me. How I shoot is, I shoot everything in RAW, but typically I'm also shooting JPEGs, small JPEGs. And that's so that if I want, I can transfer those immediately to my phone, put them on my Instagram story, or send them to someone just boom like that. It's kind of cool to be able to do that. This thing is 28mm, which is darn near the same focal length as your iPhone anyway. So it's like, it's kind of cool to be able to take a really awesome picture and then send that over to someone, airdrop it to someone, versus like a crappy iPhone picture. I think they're crappy on the iPhone. Like, if you're a real photographer, I don't use my phone for a camera. I use a real camera. So when it works, it's super cool to be able to zap over a JPEG, share it with someone, share it on social media right away. Now, my pictures that I care about, I'm serious about, that I'm making, always shoot those in RAW. Always send them, put them on a hard drive anyways, do a proper edit and all that. But sometimes if I want to just get a quick JPEG, it's really handy. I wish the Wi-Fi capability was better. And I feel like this is a software thing that they could deal with. And it's just spotty. It's hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. I don't know if it's really user error. I'm putting that under the con area. Resolution. Okay, that is a pro. Dude, it's 47.3 megapixels of resolution. That's freaking crazy. Nobody needs that much. You could shoot a billboard with this thing, and it's got, you know, the digital crop, 35, 50, 70. I don't care. I never use that to where it automatically crops in. I'm shooting and I'm composing at full resolution, 28mm. I've never had a camera with this much resolution, and so it is so cool to zoom into these awesome, sharp, great images, and just to have all that real estate. It's kind of spoiled me. It's darn near medium format. You know, it's twice as much as you really need. I mean, I think a lot of people say 24 is about as big as anyone needs, but it's pretty cool having 47.3 megapixels. That's a pro. Low light. This camera gets pretty noisy, pretty quickly in low light. You get up around 3200 ISO and it starts getting noisy. And honestly, I think this is due to probably the high resolution of the sensor. You know, it's there's just a high pixel density. So there's a lot of pixels stacked on that sensor, and I think we're sacrificing a little low light ability. So did I say that right? It gets noisy pretty quick. You can, of course, downsample the image, edit, and take some of the noise out and export it at a smaller resolution, and that sort of deals with it. But, you know, you're not going to get super clean files once you start getting up above 3200 ISO. That's just the way it's going to be. Pros, the size. I love the size. Okay, the reason, if you watch my original Q2 portrait video where I tell the story of why I got this camera, I didn't want to have a backpack full of lenses. I didn't want to have a bag full of lenses. I just wanted to carry this around for a year. And honestly, I find myself taking a digital camera with me more places. I used to always take my M6 with me. It's about the same size, smaller even, because it's got a smaller lens. But now it's no problem. I'll grab this. I find myself dragging it around everywhere. I love it. I love the size. You know, you can get like an aftermarket grip on it so where you have a little more purchase. I don't want that. I don't want it any more bulky than it is. I like the finish on the leather, and it fits in my hand really good. It's got a little thumb groove right here, and I got big hands, okay? I'm not like a small dude, so this thing just fits. It just feels really nice in my hands. I love the size. I have stuck it in a jacket pocket, so it's pretty unobtrusive. I've had it like under a coat, just kind of resting there if the weather's really bad. It's not big and bulky. It's really simple. Size, that's a pro. No ports. Okay, maybe, you know, some cameras now you can charge them through a port, or this does have video capability, so maybe it would be nice to have an HDMI port and hook up a monitor. All that's due to the weather sealing, I think. There's no ports and there's no openings in the camera because it's totally weather sealed. So that's the trade-off you get, right? It's a con though. You can't do some of those things that you can do with other cameras. You can't hook up an external mic. You can't hook up a monitor. You can't charge it or power it remotely. So, sorry. That is a con. It's a trade-off I will take for the durability and the weather proofing of the camera. So, okay, moving right along. So a lot of people have commented on some of my other videos, and I've had conversations, and there's debate online, you know, they throttle the shutter on this camera. You can't go up to a high ISO and also have a super long exposure shutter. So that's a firmware thing. And I don't know, people talk about, well, maybe they're trying to keep those functions for, you know, their more advanced, more expensive cameras like the SL2, which is a true professional mirrorless camera. I guess that's the reason. I wish they would just freaking unlock it and let you do whatever the heck you want. I mean, it's already limited. You only have one lens. You know, there's no ports. It doesn't have a lot of the features that some of these other cameras have. So why are we throttling the shutter, Leica? I wish you weren't doing that. Now, it hasn't really affected me in the way I shoot, but maybe it will someday. I don't know. I don't want limitations like that. I don't like software limitations. Like, if you can do it, then just open it up. This isn't the camera for everybody, and I don't think anyone's really going to decide over this or an SL2. That's my opinion. The SL2's not that much more expensive, and but you still got to buy lenses and stuff. This is just kind of a specialty, very limited little camera. So I don't know. Maybe someday they'll change that. Let's just talk about the controls and the menu. I love the simplistic controls. You know, say what you want about Leica. I love how they are a less is more kind of cameras. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. There's not a lot of buttons. They're very simple. It's very simple to adjust the ISO, the shutter, or the iris. And what else do you need to do, man? It's like, that's 99% of all your work day in, day out. So I love the simple menu system. I love the 3-button interface on the back. I love how when you turn it on and you hit menu and you get this little control screen first before you go into the menu, where you can just immediately, with either touch screen or with the control on the back, you can immediately tweak or adjust all your main functions, all your exposure settings, your focus settings, your white balance, all that's right there immediately. And then you hit the menu button again and you go into the menu. Then you've got like a favorites where you can put your favorite things that you want to access the most right there. And then you go into the menu and it's really simple. There's just a few pages and I can get to what I need really quick and I can get back to shooting. And honestly, less is more. It's meat and potatoes. This is a meat and potatoes camera, all right? It might be like a high-end bougie German piece of engineering, but to me, Leica is about the meat and potatoes, man. It's the simplicity. It's the less is more. It's only what you need. It's not a bunch of bullshit. It's not a bunch of buttons everywhere and features that only a small group of people need. Now, you can't do everything with this camera. You know, it's not like a dedicated video camera like a lot of mirrorless cameras are nowadays, where you can actually shoot pretty good video with them and stuff. I've done video with this, but it's not designed, it's not optimized for that. So that's what I love about this camera is, you know, it's just simple. It's just the basic stuff that you need. So that's it. Those are my top 5 pros and top 5 cons. This is my favorite digital camera I've ever had, hands down. I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of this. You know, usually I have a digital camera for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then I'm selling it and I'm upgrading or I'm getting something different or I just get tired of it. You know, I've owned many Nikons, I've owned Canons, I've owned Lumix cameras, I've owned Sony cameras, multiple in each of those, and I've sold them all eventually. I don't think I'm ever going to sell this thing or get rid of it. I'm probably just keep it till it dies, whenever that is. I love this little camera. What would I really, really, really want to change about it or upgrade it or make it better? I don't really know how you could make it better. You know what I think would be super interesting is a Q2 monochrome, because I kind of lust after that M10 monochrome. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if I had that much disposable income, I would buy that sucker in a second. Man, I really don't need that. I need other things more, and it's expensive. So, but I tell you what, if they popped out with a Q2 monochrome, I mostly edit my photos in black and white anyways. In fact, the next video after this that's coming out next is going to be me editing some photos from this. So you're going to see most of my photos end up black and white anyways. If I could just have a black and white Q2, I mean, that would sort of make my focus even more narrow, but like, especially if it gave me better low light, like that sensor that's in that M10 monochrome and how it's supposed to be, you know, so sharp and so much detailed and so much range of luminance with that black and white sensor. Having that in this Q2, oh man, that'd be pretty tempting. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's something I didn't cover. You know, I'm not trying to do a super detailed review here. This is just the meat and potatoes, what I like and what I don't like the most. One thing I super love about this is the screen in the back. I gotta say this before I get off. I love the LCD screen and I love the viewfinder. It's so sharp, so detailed. I switch back and forth between manual and autofocus, and I use manual focus a lot because once you start focusing, it punches in. I have the peaking turned on. I got red peaking, and it's just boom. It's really easy to It's really easy to nail focus in manual focus. So I'm a lot of times, especially shooting people, a lot of times if I'm shooting portraits, I do that fully in manual, and great, works great. Love the viewfinder, love the LCD. It's a great little camera, folks. It's not for everybody. It's not a do everything camera, but it's, for me, it's kind of a, I'm going to take this everywhere camera. I love it. And I don't know what's coming after this for me. I don't really super lust after any other digital cameras right now. I wouldn't mind having an SL2. Actually, I wouldn't mind having a super dedicated, like really good video camera. SL2, maybe an A7S III. That's looking pretty sexy. just because I want to, I'm a filmmaker by trade and I'm doing these YouTube videos and I just don't really have a good personal video camera to shoot some cool stuff, and I kind of want to do that. It's coming. But photography wise, in a digital camera, this is fine for me for now. Photography wise, the things that I dream about are film. Actually, I want to get a medium format film camera for my photography. That's probably next. Anyways, hope it wasn't too rambly. I hope you learned a few things. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments and we'll address them. I really appreciate all of you who have shown up week in and week out for all these little silly little videos I'm making. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't subscribed already, maybe hit that button. If this was helpful, maybe hit the like. It helps. They tell me it helps. So being a good YouTuber here, and I'm asking those things. I hope you stop by again and get out there and shoot. Oh, before I leave. Yes, the next video I upload, I've already recorded it, spoiler alert. The next video I upload is going to be me editing some Q2 files. So I hope you check that out. All right, we'll see you next time, folks. Take it easy.